again, an amazing lesson about Steve Gadd. Steve Gadd. Steve Gadd. Okay, today's topic is one of my favorite Steve Gadd's albums. Tom Scott with the New York Connection. The first Tom Scott album with Steve Gadd. And there's a nice story of Tom Scott. He told it in an interview that he was expecting, went to New York to work with the best rhythm section. Everybody was talking about the cats there. And he was in the recording booth and he expected fire. And then he saw the whole band play like this. And he said, what are these guys? He started listening to the musicians in the booth and it was sounding huge. And he thought, what's this secret? The secret of playing small and sounding huge. That's so difficult, especially as a drummer. Midtown Rush, I think, is the first song on this album. And there's an amazing book. In 1985, he wrote a first transcription book of Steve Gadd. And you can connect him. You see the link in the description. And you can order this book. It's an amazing book. So the first beat, it starts with a rim shot. That's always nice. The first measure is like a basic thing. And the second measure, then it's a little bit difficult. Then we play. A snare drum like this on beat 4. That's really. You don't play a rim shot, I think. So you tap it, and then you play a down. But the tap has to be a little bit like an upstroke. That's so hard thing. And the 60-note bass drums is also a thing. You can watch this video about Steve Gadd's foot technique. And then you see that he goes, with this 60 note, he do toe heel. And the first toe is actually a heels down. So you do a heels down and up with your heel. Heels down and up. That's an amazing technique. The tap dance Steve Gadd bass drum technique. So the whole beat is slow. So that's a really nice groove. Now on the tempo of the song. Sometimes he splashes his hi-hat open, not always. But it's an amazing groove. And you can listening to how the band, is playing this thing. So sometimes he splashes his hi-hat on the beat 2, the last 60 note. So then it's okay, now we have to try to make it the articulation of Mr. Gadd. So it's what I told in the intro. It's really light drumming, but with a lot of impact. His snare drum has always a kind of up motion. So there's a whipping motion involved, a little bit like Muller, and then, then you have such a short note. Always the one is so important. Hit that downbeat on the right place and spot, man. That's magic. So I cannot tell you how to learn that. You really have to feel, you really, there's the one, And the one is always a little bit, it's on the one. It's not before the one or after the one. They play just everything on the beat. But for us, it feels like it's behind the beat because we are always in front of the beat. Yeah. So up the beat is actually behind the beat. Start to play everything up the beat. Okay, in this transcription book, the B part is not transcribed. So I just made my own interpretation. Then he goes a little bit with some paradiddle, inverted paradiddle things, you know. Okay, one more thing is that when you play an open hi-hat on the end of beat 4, it's always very difficult to really close it on the 1. There's always something happening with drummers, especially with the backbeat after that. So the resolve of Steve Gadd is that his foot motion is the same. So he goes up with both his, you know, he plays heels down here. He plays heels down with the right foot, but he also plays heels down with his left foot. He's almost touching, you know, let the pedals loose. So and then you're really on the 1 again. Because you're really on the 1 again because you're doing the same motion with your feet. That's genius. Okay, the B part, I think this is the amazing part of this song. So what's in the chorus, it's a little bit like with a tambourine in 60 notes. And then he starts on the second note of beat 1, the second 60 note of beat 1. So I play a 60-note thing in between. So the foundation of this groove is a quarter note hi-hat. Like this, you know. And that part is playing on the bell of your cymbal. So listen to that one. One E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4. So as you can hear, my sound is, I think, exactly the drum set he had in that time. Hopefully, because a lot of times he played on the drum set of the studio. There was a drum set there. You bring your own superphonic snare drum with the fiber skin head and your own cymbals. But maybe this is his own drum set, and this is a fiberglass thing, you know, he had in that time with the double-headed, custom-made. It were concert toms, and they made them double-headed again. And my cymbals, I've searched so much for this hi-hat cymbal because it's really high. It's a 14-inch A, but you know, it has a really... You know, it has a really high sound. So that sound is really Steve Gadd. But most of this hi-hat sounds lower. And the same thing with this ride. It's also an old A Siljan. With a little bit of tape on it. But that cup sound is really high. You hear it here, that it's all so high. Again, an amazing groove. Nobody knows, you know. Everybody knows the great, you know, like that. But it's such a nice groove. So I hope you can play this groove and learn this groove, and you can put it on my Facebook group, the Steve Gadd Drum Lesson group. You can put there your film, your video of you playing this groove. That would be great. So I have a little example here of my first Steve Gadd drum cover, but for me, I'm not a drummer who exactly plays the parts Steve Gadd plays. So I'm a little bit free in that. So I try to reach his, the playing and the song, but the fills are not exactly the same fills, and sometimes. So actually, you hear two drummers, but I touch a little bit the groove, a little bit, of course, because nobody can touch the groove of our God. I hope you learn this groove and like this one the same as I do. Please like and subscribe my video. So I hope to see you next time. And I say bye-bye from the Netherlands.